Good morning. Welcome to the Small Business Support Group. It is show 72. Yes, we're counting now because we're getting up the big numbers. And it's the 24th of June on a Wednesday. So I'm not feeling it today. I'm angry. But there we go. That's just the way it is. Who we got in the room? We have Maz. There she is. We've got Andy, who's now he's a bit of a regular.
Good morning,
we've got
everyone.
Grant. And we've got Grant, who has just got his camera off at the moment. So that's fine. So, Andy, some good reports yesterday. People enjoyed your bit on the show.
Oh, did they? Thank you.
A few comments came through. Now, the normal structure that we do when Maz is here is we give Maz a little bit of a starting point on the show, and she usually lays down a little topic. Which what's your topic today, Maz?
So I was going to talk, because I wasn't on the show yesterday, just about, the 4th of July, really, and what Boris said yesterday.
Cool. Excellent. So, Grant, have you got anything specific, or are you just going to roll on with what we're going to talk about?
Yeah, I'll chip in on that one. I think it's a big, important one for the UK at the moment, as well as other countries.
I think it definitely is. Maz, take it away.
Thank you. So, good afternoon. I've got that right. After show 72.
And we've got Grant, who is just got his camera.
Oh, who was
Sorry.
that? And as Matt has said, he's in a foul mood. I have come on the show today because I'm doing a keynote later. So I said to Matt, how do I look? I've got a dress on today. He said, Maz, you look crap. So, thank you, Matt.
Ever the charmer, eh?
Yeah.
He's a charming man, isn't he?
Oh, good, isn't he? He said, Maz, you look crap.
I don't have to be nice every day, do I? I don't have to be nice.
No. And I said to Matt, we're like a virtual family, but after that comment, I'm going to divorce you. And he said, take the kids with you, Maz.
Get on with it.
So the trouble is, though, Maz, he can say that because Matt always looks so gorgeous.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
You know,
never have I said I look gorgeous.
He's got that face for radio, hasn't he?
You make it. that has been said so many times, Grant. All right, shut up now, Grant. All right, Maz, get on with it.
See, that's what I mean, Maz, get on with it. Okay. So, anyway, as Boris said yesterday, and I quote, he said, our long national hibernation is coming to an end. You know, the Prime Minister talked of a new cautious optimism across the country in the House of Commons as he announced the biggest return of freedom since the lockdown began. You know, families will actually now be allowed to meet groups of relations or friends indoors for the first time since restrictions were imposed back in March. But, and there's always a but with our government, there'll be a ban on hugging or touching. I mean, one can only wonder at rules that try to keep people apart from each other, especially children not touching or hugging. You know, are all these government experts on the behavioral side of things instead of people who specialize in simple biology? So how do people develop and keep going their immune system? You know, the part of us that keeps us healthy, building up resistance to viruses and bacteria by actually mixing, talking, and touching other people, getting our hands dirty with a healthy amount of organic dirt, as kids did when they played in the streets and weren't constantly cleansed with antibacterial wipes, which toxic ingredients cause allergies anyway. You know, people will be ill from breathing their own hotbed of bacteria from inside the masks and stopping their oxygen intake. You know, we are being told not to be human, not to act in a human way, to fight off just another virus that hasn't proved to be anything exceptional compared to a seasonal flu. I mean, let's not forget that the economy has been trashed. Lives have turned upside down. Mental health has suffered. Tens of thousands of cancer referrals have been missed. And it's like, how can I say it? It's like, Simon Says. That's what Boris is doing. You know, Simon says, don't go to work. Simon says, stay 2 meters apart. Simon says, stay 1 meter apart now, actually. Simon says, clap your hands. Simon says, stop clapping your hands. And whoa, betide you if you do something without Simon saying it first. You know, I don't want to sound negative because Matt, You've done a beautiful job of that today. But as the biggest leap in the return to normal has been confirmed, on face value, it reads like excellent news. But as always, comes with government guidance, which will follow. Small steps, but such important milestones. I mean, it's fantastic news for everybody. This will be a major boost for many businesses that have struggled financially over the lockdown period. Personally, I'm actually really looking forward to the 4th of July and seeing our industry recover. It's good news as long as people play their part. We are all, and I say this, we are all more knowledgeable than we were back in March. So with the right care and protection and a good bit of common sense, people should be okay to return as needed. And I worry as I say that, as it would appear we've also learned that actually common sense isn't always common. And on that note, when will the sports and fitness sectors be able to fully reopen? Because let's remember that gym and leisure centres take stress off the NHS and health of the nation, whilst pubs don't. I don't think the gyms are more, I do actually think the gyms are more than capable of operating safely with good hygiene measures. I mean, the health and fitness of the nation should be paramount, and so should be a big consideration in the decision to allow gyms to reopen. And just my opinion, ASAP. It's madness that people can go to pubs, get drunk, and obviously, hence they won't be able to obey the social distancing. But yet, when we can have more control of it in a gym, we're not allowed it. Does that mean it's simply a bigger voice? So drink yourself to death at your local pub, but God forbid you want to work out at the gym. It can't happen. I mean, this is exactly why we have one of the worst death rates. The health of Britain is shocking. It makes me want to study this virus myself. It stays away from footballers. It stays away from a Primark queue, bars. It doesn't attend protest or the beaches. But it's like hanging around the gym and nail bars. And in cases it uses public transport to get there. What a life it leads. A gym is actually less risky than a nail bar, and a swimming pool is more hygienic than a pub. Where is the logic behind this? I would say we just need to open everything up, let everyone get their social distancing set up, hand sanitizer stations in place, and let's get on with life. COVID-19 will not be wiped out. It will surface again. So let's get on with it, shall we? And on that note, over to the lovely Andy Moore, Grant Stain, and Matt.
Thanks. So that was 8 minutes. That wasn't bad, Maz. There was obviously a lot to fit in there, which was announced yesterday. Grant, do you want to just come back on that? Because obviously there's tons of stuff to talk about. We've also got Ian from Canada who's sat in the wings at the moment, who we'll bring on in a minute. I mean, is there any main points you want to pick up on that?
I think, what Maz really picked up on there is the logic behind the places that are opening and the places that aren't opening. It does seem to be fairly consistent across the world, in actual fact. I don't think our government are doing anything particularly different from anywhere else in terms of the way that they open up. I think the exception to that might be, I remember in Spain, and I think it was Italy as well, they opened up hairdressers first. So that's obviously a big deal for them. It's not really bothered me too much. I must admit that.
I cut my own, so just
yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, but yeah, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, let's face it, we are at the point now where we're starting to open up based on the fact that the virus is in decline. But the truth is, we won't know until, well, we should start finding out over the next few days, certainly in the UK and in a few parts around the world, the effect that the reduction of the lockdown has had. Because as we said, I think it's about a week ago, when I sort of did the calculations, the sort of back of a sort of napkin calculations based on the how long the virus takes to incubate how long you then show symptoms, and then how long you end up in hospital and then ultimately die. On average, I worked it out, it's about 3.5 weeks from when you first get it. So that would mean that based on the lockdown was opening up, we're about 3 weeks ago, wasn't it? Just coming up to 3 weeks, is it? So we should start to see a spike or an increase if that wasn't effective, or if that lockdown, if that reduction of lockdown, caused a problem. So we don't really know yet, but my feeling is, and just going back to what Maz said, is that surely we're really at this kind of catch-22 position now, where there is no ideal scenario where everybody goes, yeah, that's brilliant. There is no solution like that, because we've still got a virus that is very contagious and can be lethal in some cases. The main problem that I can see with the virus is that the way that it's so contagious and that it does target vulnerable people in a lethal way. So my thinking is that what they're going to be doing now, this opening up of businesses, is out of necessity because we need it in the economy. I actually don't think that they're going to lock down again, even if we do get a spike, because I don't think they can afford to.
No.
Potentially, I don't know, but I mean, when we look at what the effect is now going to be on the economy and the way that Maz has talked about this a lot, that in terms of the general health of the world, the effect of the lockdown could end up being far worse than COVID-19. Now, neither of those two things is great, but the truth is that the effect of the lockdown will kill a lot of people that otherwise would have been healthy, and or would have been curable because of the not using the NHS, whereas the lockdown the virus seems to target. We can actually identify the vulnerable people, and those are the people that need severe isolation. They need to protect themselves, and I keep coming back to this. My parents are in that bracket, and I do worry about them, and I'm really glad that they're taking the lockdown very seriously, because that they are vulnerable. But a lot of people, or the vast majority of people, particularly young people, are not vulnerable at all. They're going to get mild symptoms at best. So there really is no point locking the whole world down on that basis that I can see.
Okay, let's we've got Ian in Canada. We'll come to him in a second, because it's about travel I was speaking to Ian about. Andy, your thoughts on not locking the whole world down and just opening up, as Grant says, and just securing the people who are vulnerable. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously we got Ian here in Canada. I'll be interested to hear what Ian says about what Canada's doing. But as you know, half my family, my daughter lives in Australia. Australia have had about 105 deaths. Done a fantastic job, their government has. And very little transmission at this moment in time. And before anybody says it's a large country, it isn't. It is a large country, but the majority of the population is situated on the east coast. They have two mega cities. Sydney is 5.5 million population, and Melbourne is 4.9 million population. And as we speak, Melbourne is in lockdown. So this is this localized lockdown that countries and the UK are starting about a little bit late in the day. They are locking down locally in Australia and have been for some months now. So what's happening there is Melbourne has had a spike. They've got about 100 new cases, which is minuscule. I've got an app today called COVID-19, which is run by Imperial College. And today they report 3,612 daily cases in the UK. That is a phenomenal amount of cases, right? And we're easing lockdown with over 100 people dead yesterday, and the average being about 150-ish. So unfortunately, we're easing the lockdown too early. France eased its lockdown when there was only 200 cases a day. No, not many deaths at all, in the tens, right? Sadly, we've got little choice because the economy has been handled. I call it this. The UK has lost the battle of the virus. Let's not lose the battle of the economy. And if the government handled the economy battle like they've handled the virus, we're in deep trouble. I'm sorry to be negative about that, but Australia has done a fantastic job. And even as today, I spoke to my daughter this morning in Sydney, and they have not opened their cinemas yet. And we're opening our cinemas. And they've got, in Sydney, there's virtually no new cases every day at the moment, let alone deaths, right? So we've got to, and what I said is the government didn't act. We should have sent a team to Wuhan as soon as this happened, and then another team to Italy. Now, what do we send them? Postcards saying, get well soon. It's ridiculous.
Okay, let's before you get onto a massive rant there, Andy,
Yes.
Because I could feel it was building.
Well, but I'd like to know about I'd like to know what
I was going to go over to Ian.
I know
Because he's
not a bad job.
no right. So Ian, you're outside a Tim Hortons, is it?
Yeah. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, there we go. That's
very good,
weather's the weather's not very good today, is it?
No, cloudy. It's been 33 every day, but today is going to be only 26, I think.
Okay.
But it's
What-
early.
what-
Don't forget, it's only 7 a.m. I had to
Yeah,
get up
okay.
at 6 to drive here.
All right. Thank you so much for doing that. You should have Wi-Fi in the lodge, really, shouldn't you? That's what you need.
Yeah, it's not possible. We're so remote.
Okay.
which
Wait,
is a
don't
good
worry,
thing
because
for the virus.
you can use the Elon Musk Starlink system, but that's a conversation for another day. So what I wanted to talk to you about was the actual journey that you had from the UK to Canada, first of all. So what was that like? How was that?
Yeah. Well, it started off with getting to Heathrow, and normally Terminal 4, I think, or Terminal 2. You you get off the lift and you go across a walkway to the terminal, but they were stopping everyone there. Only passengers were allowed, so no relatives were allowed in the terminal, which was just surreal. And everyone had to wear a mask. If you didn't have one, they provided one. So that was different. So the airport was absolutely dead. Nothing was open except for WH Smith. But I quite like not having the crowd, so that was pretty good.
No, that's true.
Then when we got to the check-in, like after security, which was all normal, just you're wearing a mask. That's the only difference. At the actual check-in, somebody scans your passport like visually just to tell you what queue to get in. They're wearing PPE, but the interesting thing was they would take the person's passport ahead of me, hand it back to them, and then take my passport. So in between, they never used hand gel or hand sanitizer or anything. Okay. And the same thing once they actually scanned the passport after you went through the queue, which I thought they did all these safeguards, and then they dropped the ball on that one.
No rubber gloves, Ian.
Oh, they were wearing gloves.
Oh, they were
wearing gloves.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to say that, the virus couldn't transmit onto their gloves from the previous person than onto my passport.
So they were protecting what you weren't, is what you're saying.
Yes, correct. So I thought that was poor. And then when you got on board, they gave us one of these packs. So inside's a bottle of water, some hand sanitizer, some wipes, a mask, and some gloves.
Oh, good.
So they gave us that twice during the flight.
Yeah.
I was flying on a 777, so I don't know if you're familiar with that aircraft. It's
I am.
Yeah.
3 seats on the side, 4 in the middle, and 3 on the other side.
Yeah.
And nobody sitting beside anyone. So they use the window and aisle seat on the side, the 2 aisles in the middle, and the same on the other side. So you're talking 6 out of 10 seats are occupied. But even that wasn't full.
Yeah.
So if it was,
it was quite
only have
quiet.
60. Yeah, they'd only have 60%.
And Ian, has the price of the ticket gone up in price? Did you notice?
Not really.
Because you're a regular,
not really.
aren't you?
Yeah.
Not really.
It might have been a little bit, but not much. I think it was 570 pounds.
Nothing that you noticed really significant.
No.
Okay.
So I don't know how they're going to stay in business unless the government has slashed a lot of the taxes, which is most of the ticket fare.
And which airline was it, Ian? If you don't mind me
Air
saying.
Canada.
Air Canada, yeah, very good.
Yeah. So normally we fly into Ottawa directly from Heathrow, but it might be an aircraft thing or a staff thing. We flew into Toronto,
Right.
and then it's a short flight to Ottawa, which again was socially distanced.
Okay.
Did you have to raise your hand? This is not a stupid question. This is an actual question. To go to the toilet? No. Can you just go to the toilet as normal?
You could, but I wore my gloves when I went there, and you wear a mask during the whole flight. So I just made sure to wash my hands. As soon as I got back to my seat, I used my hand sanitizer. And the service, there's no drink service anymore. They only brought bottles of water around. And your meals were a cold sandwich in a box. 2 of those.
Right.
That's real different, isn't it?
Yeah, the staff all wore PPE. Like some of them wore visors during the flight.
That's phenomenal.
So I felt pretty safe on the flight. I mean, the guy beside me was actually, removing his mask to take a bite and putting his mask back on while he was eating, whereas I just took it off while I was eating. So it was a very surreal experience.
And Ian, some of the airlines, the flight crew have got a full suit on, hazmat suit. Do they have that or the normal uniform?
No, they had like a paper thin garment that they wore. So for takeoff, they were in their uniform with a mask.
Yeah.
And then to serve, they put this like an apron, I would say.
Right.
With gloves, and a couple of them wore a visor.
Okay, very good.
But they all had masks on.
I think you've got to take your hats off to the air crew, haven't you? Because they're putting themselves in harm's way there, aren't they? To keep people, they
didn't sign up for it.
No, and a lot of people talk about the NHS and supermarket staff as well. There's some unsung heroes, aren't there? That they must have been doing that throughout.
Yeah, but
it's phenomenal.
I mean, Air Canada, before I flew out, they laid off 20,000 staff.
Wow.
So
what's it? So what's Canada like? You're there. Obviously, you go there regular. How different is it at the moment? Is it as different as in the UK as we are, or are they more relaxed?
They're more relaxed. I mean, I'm in a more rural area, but they opened up patios, I think, last week. Bars are still shut, but their patios are open. Okay. And I've seen staff where, I mean, I'm supposed to be in quarantine, so I'm not supposed to be out. I'm supposed to be in quarantine for 14 days. But I've stayed in the car, so.
Okay.
Oh, that's
but the drive-through here, is constant.
Is it?
Sorry, they're the quarantine as well.
Yeah. Anyone on a flight, and when I go back to the UK, I have to quarantine for 14 days as well.
Sure.
How long are you out there for?
Another week and a bit. So
okay.
I'll have like two days at the end where I can move around.
That's not great. Okay, well, thanks for doing that, Ian. Anybody else got any questions for Ian? Just while we're on.
I've just got a couple of questions, Ian. In terms of where you are now, is there an app? Have they got an operating app in Canada that tells you where the cases are, what you can do, and self-report and all that?
Well, it's difficult. I'm not sure. It's difficult because we have no internet access where we are.
Yeah.
And the cell signal is quite weak.
And I would expect
I'm lucky to get a text from Matt, while I was sleeping. I got one saying, "This is the show."
Okay. And I assume there's very low level of cases where you are.
Yeah, there is, but I think Ontario's had a bit of a spike recently.
Right. Yeah.
And I was reading this morning on BBC about the U.S. The U.S. is they're not controlling it at all.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Ian, interesting what you said. You said how you felt safe with the mask and on the flight, perfectly safe. You didn't feel at risk at all.
No, as long as everyone's wearing one, I feel pretty good about that. The thing that bothered me was some people getting up to go to the washroom, toilet. some with loose fitting, a couple with saris on and that, and they're just brushing past you and the stuff's hitting you in the face.
Yeah.
They're not taking, some people are not taking it too seriously, but they have all the social distancing thing at shops here.
Yeah.
Like there's queues outside the shops.
Yeah.
And they have the hand sanitizer just inside. So it's the same precautions.
And this is the point I was saying, Matt, if I could just say, just bring you about the fact when I was in SARS in 2003, had the UK government introduced masks early on, we would have saved lives. That is a fact. Any barrier between you and the virus, it's common sense. Maz referred to common sense earlier. It is common sense will give you some protection. There's no such thing as 100% protection anyway, even in a lab environment. But that's why we're seeing now perspex screens going up in the shops, the supermarkets and everywhere else. The masks are a saviour. I saw this in all of Asia. And the main thing, the masks protect you from people who are infected. And what was the recent thing in Australia? They tested a whole cruise ship, only a small one, 217 passengers. Of the 217 passengers, 127 were positive, but only 20 to 30% had symptoms. So this asymptomatic thing is out there, whether we like it or not. My son's girlfriend, a work colleague, husband and wife, both tested positive. He had symptoms. She has none whatsoever, but she's going out shopping with not wearing a mask. Now, had we not had mixed messages off the government, obviously that's all linked to PPE, masks save lives, no question. Asia have been operating with masks for decades, right? And it has worked over there. And that's how they got the virus under control in China. It's compulsory to wear masks in China. Hong Kong's the same. Hong Kong got a minuscule death rate of about 10, if you're lucky. So what we need to understand is, and of course we've got this thing that, is it a face covering or is it a mask? It's ridiculous. We've got to be clear.
That's true.
Face mask save life. I say to people, your new normal is this: hand sanitizer, gloves, and face masks. Simple as that. Go out, wear them. If you're outside, you don't need a mask unless you're in close proximity to people. If you go inside, you need masks. End of story.
No, it's very good. It's a good, very valid point.
Glad to see you're safe and well. And Canada's a fantastic country. Last time I was there. Hoping it's
still. I got my mask here.
Yeah, brilliant.
Nice mask. Excellent. Ian, thank you so much for coming on and getting up extra early and driving to Tim Hortons. So grab yourself a coffee.
Appreciate it.
And just to remind you, I'm out of that Canadian bourbon. I don't know, if any shops are open. Just
that was the other thing. At the airport, none of the duty free was open, so I couldn't buy.
That's done that.
I couldn't buy booze, and then on the flight there was no duty free.
Crikey!
So I will get something from the liquor store before I leave and put it in my suitcase under the plane.
That's not the one with the velvet bag. I'll take the cheap one. It's just as good as the one with the velvet bag. It's fine. No one else understands what I'm saying there.
Okay.
Okay, mate. All right. Thanks a lot. Stay safe.
Cheers.
No problem.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Excellent. That's Ian Pound from Canada. He's actually a neighbour of mine who lives just over the road. And he was quite vocal then as well. He's usually quite boring. But he's Canadian. That's the way it is. So just going back to...
Does he care, does he?
Matt, you are
me?
so bad today.
No, I am. I don't. You know what? I don't care today. So I will feel sorry for all my meetings this afternoon. That's all I can say.
Why have you got a cob on, Matt?
I just have. I don't know. I'm just angry today. Well, you could have. I texted you early, didn't I, Grant? And I was like, it was a weird text I sent you because I reread it. I thought, oh, that's just a bit angry.
I'm used to it, mate. I know you're Mardy.
No, we expect this is normal behavior from you.
His hormones are playing up again.
It is. I wish I could blame that. So let's just go over some of the points. We've got a few minutes left before we end the show. So this thing about the two households meeting, which is going to be happening from the 4th of July as well. I'm confused at this. Well, I'm not confused. I fully understand how it's going to work, but they're saying that it says 2 households can meet inside or outside, but you can have multiple households. So one day you can meet one house, another day you can meet another. So basically, it's normal, isn't it? Don't you think that's just normal? Grant, I've got to Grant first.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it to me.
Common sense. Just
I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I haven't paid much attention to that sort of stuff because I haven't got any friends.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Well, it's just weird because obviously I don't know why they just don't say, well, just everybody just keep a distance. You can come in inside or out, but there's only X amount can come into your house and that's it. Not keep saying about bloody household.
I'll tell you what I am intrigued to find out how the experience is going. I've got an appointment later this week with Mr. Andy Moore. We are going to be physically meeting.
Socially distant, of course, in the outside.
I'm expecting you to turn up in like a nuclear radiation suit.
He's been around my house a few weeks back on his bike. He came around cycling and he did. He looked like somebody out of Outbreak. Then you completely masked up. Goggles, gloves. Did you have a helmet on, Andy? That was the point. You had a mask. Yeah, you did have it. Yeah, so that was the thing that didn't stand out.
Andy, are you coming on the 8th of July to Chongqing?
I'm considering it.
Have you seen what they're doing to the outside? They're kitting out all the outside, so they've got massive.
I collected a takeaway from there. Can I just say, I had a takeaway from Chongqing. To deliver to Knoll is a bit expensive, but I went and collected it. Fantastic food. So Chongqing, central Birmingham, to James and William, absolutely fantastic food. If anybody's listening, and it's very good how they do it. You can order online. There's a 25% discount. Really good. Grant,
I'm looking forward to the 8th.
We used to go once a week, didn't we?
We did, yeah. I'm missing out our. That's one of the things that I think, from a socialising point of view, and business.
Matt, can I just come in on a bit about some new business support that's been announced today on local?
Yes, please do.
Right.
Yeah, go on.
The Birmingham Solihull Local Enterprise Partnership have just issued some new support. I'll just go off the screen for a moment so I can just recap. Right. There's a number of digital support schemes for people. There's also a free month. This is an important one. Let me just get it up again. Sorry, I've lost you there. No, there we go.
Right. We can still see you.
Still see you, mate.
It's a free 6 months.
What's your thought process on this?
Hang on. Oh, sorry. Hang on, Matt. Sorry.
That's me.
I've got something else crossing over. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
There's 6 months free access to a shop platform, an online shop platform, which is worth looking at, called Shop Apply. I've got if people want a link to it, if they email me, Matt, and I can send them a link.
I'll put your banner up now.
Yeah, and there's also grants available, and this is for the Birmingham and Solihull Local Enterprise Partnership. Right, there are.
Okay, is there a website? Is there a website for that, Andy?
Yeah, I'll send them a link. I've only had the email this morning, so I've just had an email.
Oh, okay.
So I'll send them a link at hand right now. But the other thing is what it is that the grants are only applicable for companies that have got 10 or more employees. So no good for the small end, unfortunately. But for the small end,
yet again,
some of the support services are pretty good. Digital, also helping people if they want to change their business model because of the pandemic, to go online, to work remotely, how to reopen your shops. If you're retailers, so it's pretty good. If you're not in the Birmingham and Solihull Local Enterprise Partnership, check with your own local enterprise partnership in your area, because I would think they're all going to be doing something similar, if not already today, maybe sometime in the near future, because I would suspect they're getting government money to help with this.
Excellent. That's good.
So that's what it would be. So anybody wants to just email me and I'll send you a link, no problem.
Okay, fantastic. Grant, you just finishing off now. You've got I know you got a big announcement this afternoon, have you? Just with regarding your apps and helping out pubs and restaurants. Is there anything you can give us a little inkling on?
Yeah, we are now able for pubs and restaurants to have a table ordering service. So the app can be configured so that you can put all of the tables into the app. So if you've got say if you've got 20 tables, so that when people go into the pub or the restaurant, they can place their order through the app. They download the app from the QR code or through the link that's given. They'll say what table number they are at, and then they can place their order, pay through the app, and then that will go through to the kitchen, and their drinks, or it might be their drinks or their food, will be delivered to their table. So it means you can do the whole process using social distancing, and we are we're getting really, really busy. They're £99 a month, these apps. There's no design fee, no upfront fee, no contract, and we're actually doing a deal at the moment where the first 2 months are free. So we're not even going to charge you anything for 2 months. So
if you want to find out about that, drop Grant an email. His email is on there, and he'll push you to the.
And that's worldwide,
area.
by the way, guys. So
yes.
we work in
brilliant.
8 different countries. We got partners all over the world. So I'll just forward to the one that's local to you.
Fantastic, brilliant.
And
that is about it for today, then. Oh, sorry, Andy, go on.
Just one last thing. Don't forget, everybody, the government startup loan program is still in full flow. There's plenty of cash there. Contact me if you're interested. It's up to £25,000 payable over 5 years, and there is a small payment holiday if you're interested.
There is actually somebody sent a message on Facebook this morning before we went live about that, so hopefully they will pick that message up. Excellent. Thank you very much, people. We will return tomorrow at midday. Thanks a lot. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, guys, and sorry about Matt today, guys. Thanks.